Hello. Good evening. It's probably close to 6 o'clock. I'm where I tend to be most of the time, which is at the allotment. And I'm looking at the effect of adding manure to a bed. And this is late in the season. Normally they say March in winter and then don't March again until the end of the season. But let me show you what I did. Hold on. So this is my bed where I have aubergines, surplus aubergines, plus an okra plant and a tomato which has been doing perfectly fine. As you can see, this was a tomato plant which was a volunteer, appeared this year all of its own accord, and because I've got the space here, I have the freedom to let it spread its wings and grow as it pleases. And this is what it has become. However, 2 days ago now, I came down. It was Monday, the day after the trauma, when I got scratched up by brambles doing the weeding challenge. And I decided to buy manure on my way home from work. And you cannot leave 6 bags of manure in the car. Not only is it bad for the suspension of the car, but also the stench. So I brought it here and had the effort, managed to find the effort, I should say, to lift this weed membrane and put some manure all around the plants. And I can honestly say this is already looking greener. Yes, it's had a bit of biting and eating by culprits unknown. However, it's looking greener than it did a few days ago. We've just had a bit of rain, but it is not enough rain to water the plants. So I'm here to water them, and I thought, why not do my July allotment tour? I've been trying to avoid doing them because I feel like it's awkward, but it isn't really. So let me just put this guy in to our new space. Do you remember our new space? Have I even shown you the new space yet? I probably haven't uploaded it. This is a tomato plant that my daughter managed to knock off. It's a branch my daughter managed to knock off of the plants I had, and so I decided to bring it down to the allotment and put it into my new space. Typical. The one I want, I've got a bit of water in here. I'm going to put it in here. I'm pouring this water in there. And all we need to do is to, open this out a little bit and push it in. That's all we're going to do. And then we'll water it in. And then after that, I will show you the rest of the allotment. I think I'm going to push it right down. You see all those little knobs on it? Don't know if you can see them. Those are what will become roots. So we pull all these bits off and push it right in. It can grow roots, and because this is a fabric pot, it will grow roots and probably take the roots all the way down into the ground, because the roots can push through the fabric pot. But fabric pots are great for increasing root growth and the root ball. I'm going to get a support thing to support it a little bit, but I've got enough of this root in the ground that I'm not worried about it not rooting. What I've found is these mature plants tend to root a lot more quickly than I expected. So let me just water this in, and then we can get on with the allotment tour. And now I could have watered it in after the allotment tour when I'm watering everything else, but I want to get this done and know that it is securely bedded down with enough water to last it a while. You see, I've got newspaper on there, so I'm just trying to make sure that the area around it is all wet. Okay, it may seem like quite a lot of water, but it isn't really. And then I'll just pull back my mulch to cover everything. Excellent. And now I just need a cane to support it. And oh, okay, so this one is here for a reason. We'll get one of these, and I will just put it a little bit away from it. Ooh, this is a shallow bed, that's the one thing, but I'm sure, will it? Right, let's do this. I'm going to push this into the ground, and then I'll support it using that. We'll see. Let me do it, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to start in the back. The mess and the future. I need to plant something in there. Lord help me. I'm going to try and do it today. I haven't had dinner yet, as usual, but I had a late lunch because I kind of forgot the time. Carried on working until late. So this is the area where we have, hopefully, mushroom spores busy growing away in the back there. I've covered that area because it's part of the area I want to weed, and there's some nettle. So we will get to it soon enough. These are my raspberries. I think most of them are autumn fruiting or late summer fruiting, whichever way you want to look at it. I got this allotment last year on the 22nd of July is the first time I saw it, if I remember correctly. And when I came, this area was covered in raspberries. Now we're close to the 22nd of July. I don't have any raspberries other than the summer fruiting ones. I think a bit like this bush, which I cut back a lot. We weeded on Sunday and I mulched, and it looks great, but we will have to go into there when we feel brave enough. But she says that she sees one long tall piece of grass that she decides she can yank up before it fruits all over the place. Okay, no distractions, Stella, no distractions. Apologies, I do speak to myself often. So we have got some fruit on the raspberries, and I need to work out what type of raspberries these are so that I make sure I prune them correctly. So that's area number one. We're going to go anti-clockwise. Why? I do not know. These were rape, never harvested. One thing about me is I do like to watch things grow, but watching things grow doesn't always include harvesting them. I've been harvesting for the family, but I haven't really harvested for myself. But when I weed this area, I'll see how good this is, and I'll make sure that if it's not good enough, I'll get rid of it, put it in my hot composter, and put in some more stuff. I've got some curly kale, dwarf curly kale, which is coming through beautifully, but I think I need to layer this bed with a little bit of manure because I don't feel like it's green enough. So, but it's doing well. It's growing really, really well. This new support I set up is holding a lot better. So the future is in PVC piping with support canes. These are broccoli, sprouting broccoli, which was gifted to me by an allotment my neighbor. I have 4 of them in here. They're doing well. Spring cabbage, since I've stopped taking from it looks like it's hearting up really, really beautifully in there. I'm trying to show it to you without pulling up and I can see bindweed in there, so that really needs to get going with being sorted. So yeah, so that is doing beautifully as well, but I don't want to open anything out now because occasionally you see cabbages flying around. I've got more spring cabbage here, hearting up beautifully. I did what Tony C. Smith does, and I cut back all my loculas, and it came back beautiful. And I've also got some more spring cabbage in there. I don't know if you can actually see it. It's very difficult to see, but unfortunately, I'm not willing to risk my babies there. I think at that stage, you can actually see quite well. So I've got cabbage in this one. This This I am going to show you from the inside, because this is a jungle. This is my very, very full bed. I've got chives, which are doing beautifully. And then I've got calyx. I mean, look at my calyx. This end, close to where I am now, are calyx. And I can't even see them well, because I'm recording without being on the inside, because I'm so scared of the butterflies. But I can honestly tell you, I worried about them, but look at this leaf. This is a calyx, and it's doing beautiful. So they're doing really, really well. Even the chives are doing well. I haven't harvested any of the chives, even if I do love them. See? There. Butterfly or moth running out, looking for a way in. So that is why I'm not opening any of these spaces. Much as I love you guys, I cannot risk these guys, because for me, this will be the ultimate harvest if I can get any. Sorry, I just need to make sure that this is well protected, because I've never ever grown these guys. And so for me, a success in this will be a successful season. I know I need to come in here and have a look, because I've got a lot of purple sprouting broccoli in there all along here. And then on this end, where plants are fighting for space, I've got broccoli. And I think the last time, yes, you see, I've got some sprouting broccoli and this. Oh, you can't even see it. Stella, how do you show them without opening it up? I think I'm going to try. Let me try. There is a butterfly flying about. So, guys, I cannot risk it. But trust me when I say I can see a sprouting broccoli there. And I will need to harvest it, because it will go to seed soon enough. So this is my sprouting broccoli and calyx bed. It is thriving and it's full of life. I hope you can see that. And then when we come to here, let me try and show you the whole picture. When I put these guys in, they were so tiny for so long, and now I cannot even show them to you as a whole. These are my pumpkins, and we're already halfway up the bed. I'm having to direct them as to where to go. We got baby fruit on all of them. I decided that I wasn't going to. This might be a crown prince actually, because it's a different color to the other ones. I decided I wasn't going to prune any of them. I was just going to let them scramble and grow whichever way they want. The plan being to see what they do. And at the moment, they're doing brilliantly. Although, if anyone knows, what do I do with these dead ones? Do I cut them off and put them in my compost? Do I just ignore them? I have a habit of wanting to prune stuff, because I worry that if they're like this, the insects won't be able to find the fruits and fertilize them. I think I may have to prune these guys, because look, this one has just grown another sucker here. And look, there's a fruit there as well. There's fruits all over it. And this one is coming this way. So I've got two types here, because I've got one that's putting out yellow pumpkins. So that might be my uchikuri. And one that's putting out green pumpkins. And I've got two, both of them on a brick. Almost like they decided, oh, I know where we will go. Let's go on the brick. It will be the perfect place to sit as we grow bigger. Yep. I do make up stories about anything and everything. So these guys need to be redirected when I have the energy to grow down that way, because that area of the bed is where all pumpkins are meant to go. This area is meant to be for my beans. And saying that, we come to my possibly climbing beans, which I planted really late, if they're not dwarf beans. I put in some cobra, which are meant to go here. So on these 6 canes there, they're at home trying to grow. Let's see if we can actually encourage this little one to go the right way. This is where you're supposed to be going, baby. Can you not see? You couldn't see, could you? Mummy has to show you. Right, and then this one as well is going the wrong way. So let's see if we can wrap them round and encourage them to stay. They might do. And they do look like they're climbing. They will try to climb. I believe that because I only put them in a couple of weeks ago. They're still rooting. And therefore, because they're still rooting, I am not worried. This is the bed where I put 5 wheelbarrows of manure. You remember the day I killed myself on my me day? This is that day. So you see, this one is climbing. It found its way and it's climbing. What a clever baby you are. Eh? Look at you. You didn't have to be shown. And look at you. You're trying without effort. Wow, that is very clever of you. Right, let's wrap you around and get you holding on. This one is holding on, those two. Can't decide whether they want to grow or not yet, but we'll give them time. You know, sometimes babies need time to find their own way. We can't actually direct babies all the time. Sometimes they need to explore and understand what their choices are about. So, oh my God, I really do not know how I'm going to work with this, but I did that. So my compost in bed composting area has not been disturbed, and I'm not going to disturb it because when I dug it in, I probably should have put it a little bit further, because when I went in I could see those pumpkin roots reaching right down here. So probably they're going to start eating from that and they'll do fine. Okay, now I should actually number these beds the way most people do, in order that I can then work out what I put where each year. In this bed we have our aubergines, surplus to demand, and no one wanted them. So I've got 5 aubergine plants in here. I don't know if they will fruit or not, but even if they don't, they do create a pretty space, so they're okay staying here. This is okra with a culprit. Wow, caught in action. Right, I'm going to be the judge and the jury of this one. Look at them. Can you see them? Busy eating. You can't be serious. Do you really think you can get away with that? Wow. Hey, where have you gone? Not in my allotment. I'm really sorry. Anyone who's in for life, not here. You know, I provide sacrificial plants, but not here. No, absolutely not. So that one is gone. And then I've also got this tomato plant. I do not know what make of tomato plant it is, but it is doing beautiful. And I can hear buzz, 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 buzz of the bee. And even the aubergines have flowers. You've already seen my extremely brilliantly gorgeous courgette area. What more can I say? I've harvested at least 10 courgettes already, minimum, and that's not lying. I'll slot in a picture at this point of what I've harvested, if I haven't already. I pruned these leaves because I felt like they needed to go, some of them, and already I've got more leaves. What I really need to do here is I need to lift the weed membrane, add some manure around the plants, and then put the weed membrane back on. And as it rains or gets watered, the manure will be taken down into the plants. Okay, the juices will be. Now look at that. Can you see those? I've got quite a few courgettes in there, but I'm at a point where I'm inundated with courgettes at home. Therefore, I do not feel the need to harvest what I have right now, which is just there. I've got 1, and there I've got 2, and in the bottom here I've got 3. and this is just on one plant, and I have a total of 5 plants. This one is the normal green courgette that you would find in a shop. In fact, it isn't even, because I think that one is like, I don't remember what it's called. This one has speckles in it. This one here is a light green courgette, which seems to behave a lot like the, I think it behaves a lot like the, what's it called? The yellow courgette. It's very sulky, it doesn't produce as much, but it is pretty. And as you can see, I've got loads of ants, but I'm not bothering them because ants do fertilize squashes and pumpkins and courgettes. So ignore them when they're working, as long as they're not bothering your plants or eating your plants, but rather helping the plants along. Then let them be, okay? Let them be. Now this one is a riot of leaves. I feel to the point that the plant may not even know what to do with itself. I started with one plant and it's branched into so many plants. I really do not know what to do with it. So we've got a few fruits on there that I know will actually continue to grow. This one here hasn't got any fruit at the moment, but it's got less leaves than that one. I feel like I need to amputate part of that one in order to get it to focus on one thing. It's like a child who's scatterbrained and thinking of everything at once. So you see, look at that. I've got all of those in there and it can't decide what to grow, what to leave. And I feel all these leaves do not help. Oh my gosh, there's even one underneath there. So Stella will have to look at pruning that. From there, we move on to the volunteer tomatoes, some of which have taken well and others have not. I do not know what make of tomatoes each of these are. I think the ones that are growing a lot more slowly may be the beefsteaks, because last year I grew beefsteaks, I grew plum and cherries, so I have no clue what is what. I do have one here that is growing beautifully and is already flowering, and as I said before, because I have the space, I'm not going to prune them the way I would prune indoor plants. This one here is also doing well and we got flowers on it, but once again I have no clue what type of plant it is. This is some of the corn I grew to replace some of the corn that did not grow. I brought one of the okra plants down here and put it into this bed just so it can have somewhere to live the life it's choosing to live. Long or short, it will survive. We got more tomatoes there and even more sweet corn and more tomatoes. So I've got tomato bed here, let's call it that. Okay, let's go down this way. In this bed, this is where I had my garlic, and you all saw my sister and her crazy kids come to harvest garlic. And now what I have is, when I pulled the garlic, I remulched the bed and I added more plants to them. Excuse me a moment whilst I weed. We do not want weeds in here, so they can come out. Sorry. Sidetracked. Allotment here is what I am, but it's a good thing to be sidetracked in this way. You pull them out, they have no hope in hell. Let me sit down, hold on. Right, so I've got shallots, which I keep thinking, should I pull them out or not? And then I look at them and they're like, well, the grass, they're still standing up. So if they're standing up, why bother them? Let them do what they want. Here we got beetroot, which was multi-sown beetroot, and then I put in some dwarf beans, which are currently being demolished by slugs, I'm sure, but I'm not too worried because I'm also aware of the fact that once they grow past a certain age, they're absolutely hunky-dory and they do not worry about that. They just produce. I have a pepper in here with 2 peppers which don't look that great, so I just look at them and enjoy them. I've also got this pepper here. Let me just pull it closer so you can actually see. Just there. And it's got plenty of fruit. Underneath here, what I do when I first seed plants is I actually cover them. Now, I've forgotten what I put in there, but it doesn't look like it germinated. Let me have a look and see. Let's have a look and see. Let's see. Oh yes, it did. So you see, these are beetroot. So I put in beetroot, and what I do is I cover it with this net, and that is to try and stop critters that will actually burrow down and steal my seeds. I did the same with the beans. I sowed them, and then once they grew up a little bit, I uncovered them so that they can actually start to spread their wings and fly. Right, let's see the other shallots which I grew from seed. These I did from sets. I planted them late, so I'm not expecting much from them, but they're in the ground and they seem to be doing not too bad. Let's move on. Now these guys, on the other hand, were all planted from seed and then transplanted to here a long time ago, and I had actually given up hope on them. These are the Zebrun shallots. This one here, that red one that you see. These ones were from the same packet, but they look to be onions. So I don't know whether I sowed some onions and I've just forgotten. But whatever they are, they've suddenly started to bulb up really, really beautifully. So I am pretty pleased. And everything is still standing up straight, tall and strong. Nothing has dropped sideways, so I know nothing needs harvesting quite yet. They're doing fine. Even if some of them look like they're struggling, they're still doing fine. I'm just going to pull this weed whilst I'm here. I heard someone say that onions don't do well with competition, so I tried. Oh, look in there. See? Did I bury them too deep? Is that why? But this one is doing fine. Anyway, let's see. Oh, there's a weed. Very early weed. Come away. And another weed. Come away. Come away from my space. Right, so this is the bean, pepper and onion bed. Up here, I'm going to have to protect these guys. I've never protected corn. The last lot of corn I grew at home, and so I didn't have any problems with it. But here we have the heads of corn starting, not the heads, the male part of the flower starting to come up. Look at that. So what we need to do is we need to make sure we'll protect this, but at the moment it is looking absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love it. So I'll have to look up some videos on how I protect my friends here in order that we can have a good harvest, because I've only got a few, probably about 20, and I'll be lucky if any of them produce more than just 1 or 2 corn heads. So I need to make sure that they're protected. They've done well. They're not that tall. And my sweet potatoes are finally starting to thrive. Look at that. There you go. I weeded this bed, if you remember, the other day, and I added a mulch of a mix of compost and native soil, and then covered it with wood chip, because I know the wood chip will actually rot down and become soil. If I need to plant in it, all I need to do is move the wood chip with my hands, get to the soil, plant the seed, and then when it germinates, cover the sides of the plant again, or put in seedlings, and that way I don't have to worry about waiting for the seedling to germinate before I cover it again. And in here we've got radishes. Now I don't eat radishes. I only put them in to keep the soil busy, because soil that's busy, soil that's happy. So let me just pull one out and show you, just for the sake of it. Look at that. Comes out so beautifully. Seriously, I don't eat radish, so for me this is like just for the sake of it. Radish is so easy to grow, so the seeds are so cheap. You can easily use it to aerate the soil. So I will be putting this in my compost. I can even put it there for now. In here I put all my spare sprouting broccoli plants, I think they were, or was it rape? I don't even remember. I think it may have been rape, looking at it now. So we have a lot of beetle. I've forgotten what type of beetle, but there's a beetle that eats leaves when they're young, and that's exactly what they've done here. But now that the leaves are growing bigger, we have less in way of bites other than from the slugs, but even those are not doing as well as they should be in terms of destroying this plant. So we're doing well. It needs weeding, as most areas will need weeding, but it's doing fine, and therefore we're happy with it. So last but not least, minus the new bed, which is slowly being filled with odds and ends, including that. If it grows, I'll be surprised. But it probably will do, just to surprise me. The last bed is here. This is a lovely, lovely bed. Or should I call it a lovely, lovely community of plants. What we have here is dwarf beans, which look unhealthy. But the soil, guys, peat-free soil is rank. It is disgusting. No one has put any thought into it, and I'm putting it out there. If there is anyone at all who works for these companies who watches allotment videos, couldn't you have gone to any horse stables, gotten some manure, take a sample, check it, make sure that something will grow in it, and mix it with whatever peat-free mixes you're creating? Seriously, what kind of soil are you trying to sell people to grow food in? Are you trying to poison us, or just make sure we don't have any food and have to go to the shops to buy food? Yeah, I know I don't harvest my food, but still, the soil is so bad. These guys struggle to grow, but they grew. I know carrots are so difficult to grow, and I've successfully grown so many batches this year. I am like, yay! So, ranting aside, we've got dwarf French beans here, which are not doing as well as the ones at home, but once the soil improves, they will do. We got carrots. We got beetroot. Don't ask. I just decided I was going to whack everything in here. Just stuff it in and see whether or not it grows. And then I decided, why don't I put some spring onions in here as well, so that as they grow, they mask the smell of the carrots, because we do have rabbits around here. So what I ended up with is a medley of plants, and I love it. It looks so pretty, and that is why for today I've brought my seeds in order that I can try and create something similar in here. Obviously it's got a lot of rubbish in it, but Stella is here to clear the rubbish, get this done, and then I'm going to go home. It has rained, so I think everything has had a water, because everywhere I look there is water. So I'm going to risk it, and if needs be, come back at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to water, because I really need to get this bed planted up so we can have a completely filled allotment. This bugs me that it is not done, so I'll try and get it done. Okay guys, first I need to get some water, and then I need to get the seeds as well, because if I'm planting carrots, I need to make sure. I've got pigeons that are fighting for territory, I think, over there. At least that's what I think they're doing. Anyway, I believe that part of my success with the carrots, even in crappy soil, has been, as I was saying, I feel that my success has been partly to do with the fact that I've watered the areas, I found that carrots seem to need a lot of watering before they successfully grow, and so I'm going to try and do the same with this space that I prepped a very long time ago, that I have not utilized and left to the bindweed to think it can grow. I've just also taken out some raspberry canes that decided they were going to come through here. So all of that stuff is being put here for now. Hold on. So I'm going to pull all of that out, take off the newspaper, which I used to just cover it for now, and to protect the soil to a certain extent. Hold on. This can provide a bit of cover here. And look, see? It still fights on, thinking, I can grow. Let me take off this glove because it doesn't help me to be more pulling. I can feel it coming. There we go. Okay, let's take this guys off. I need to hurry up and get home. So let's put this here a moment. And we can put that there. And pull these guys up. Look at them. Sneakily trying to live their best life in my soil. See how they... there. Right, let me finish this and then I'll start planting. So this, the soil has become a bit impacted, so I'm just going to, I've loosened it and now I'm just watering, and then I'm going to try and water along the areas I think I'm going to be planting, make sure that it's all wet, and then I'll create my drills. And once my drills are done, I will then put in my seed. So the aim is to get it all wet in order that even if I don't come for a few days, the plants will have a little bit of wetness to work with. See? Because I feel like these areas get dry quickly because it's behind here on its own, on its lonesome. Sorry. I'm just drawing drills. The water is going to drain, I'm sure of that. So I'm not worried about the fact that it looks a little bit wet right now. I need to get a, what they call a fan head or something like that for my watering can. I don't have one at the moment. And then there. Okay. So I'll get my seed, put it in, and then we will be done for today. And then I'll have to keep an eye on the weeds after that. Right, let's get on. Right, these are the seeds I'm going to put in here. I know some of them are out of season, but if you don't try, you don't know. So I'm going to put a few parsnips in here. I've got some deep purple carrot seeds. I'm going to put some climbing cobra beans on this edge here, and then if they grow, they can grow. Actually, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in the cane area. And then Allotment, probably not sowable now, so I'll leave those because I've got these carrot resistant, fly resistant ones that need to be used by May 2023. So I'll put those in together with some parsnips and we'll see how we do. Wish me luck. Here we go. I've just said that I've successfully sown a lot of carrots, and it's true, I've successfully sown a lot of carrots, but oh, this feels like it's empty. Why the hell would Stella put an empty bag back? Oh well, we're going to go for the Allinantes then, or the purples, and see how they do at this time of year. Okay, let's get on. Okay, before I cover everything up, I've oversown the parsnips because since no one seems to have good success with them, and this is my first time growing them. I've oversown them, so I've alternated the purple carrots with parsnips, and you see how many seeds I've put in. If they all grow, I'll risk transplanting them and seeing what happens. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover everything up and hope that it will grow and become something. Even if it just provides me with a bit of green, for me that's good, because I do like green material. And then what I will do a few days from today, just to top up this bed, because I know the soil I used in here is similar to the soil I used in the other bed, I'll actually come back and cover these areas with a thin layer of manure mixed with a bit of the natural soil from this area, because I'll dig it off of one of the beds and put it in here. And once the carrots grow, I'll mulch the bed with a bit of once the carrots are harvested, actually I'll mulch the bed with a bit of wood chip, so you can actually see in there loads and loads of carrot seeds. So if one dies, another one takes its place. And the ground is pretty wet because I overwatered it, because if you're chitting, what you're doing really is wetting the carrot seed itself, in order that you can actually encourage it to think, oh, rain, let's grow. And then last but not least, I've risked putting them here. I know there's no space for them, but hey, they can do what the best they can. There we go. Okay. Oh my god, my back. This is not good. So now, I don't even know how many days these things take to germinate, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it and hope for the best. I didn't cover the other bed when I planted all that stuff in it, so I'm not going to cover this bed. I'm just going to leave it, sprinkle a bit more natural soil on top, and then we'll see how they do. That's me done for the day. Time to go home. I hope you enjoyed the allotment tour, though I'm sure it's not as great as some of the ones you've seen, but that's it. My favorite space. I don't know whether it's the sweet corn, tomatoes, or these babies here, but they're all lovely. Okay, have a great one. Bye.